best friends, got each other's back. We used to cruise around with a bass to the max. Everyone in school, while I was in the lab, cooking up some beats that would turn into tracks. High school chillin', I was on a mission. I had bigger dreams of being a musician. Teachers always talked, but I couldn't seem to listen. I lived in a fantasy land, they called it fiction. But I was gonna be big one day, playing shows on the road to a sold out stage. Nobody really cared or believed I would make it anywhere close, I would fail and fade. But that's cool, I love that, cause any little doubt gives me energy back. And now, I'm in a place where I'm glad I never gave up on the dreams I had. And big dreams lead to big things, and big swings lead to big rings. Championships or the big screen, anyone who did anything took a big swing. And big dreams lead to big things, and big swings lead to big rings. Championships or the big screen, anyone who did anything took a big swing. Yeah, let's go. So if you want something big, you gotta swing fast, swing hard and commit. You might miss 10 times, but when you hit, just make sure that you get all of it, okay? People at the top took risks. Investing and testing is all that they did. It's not complicated, it just takes grit. So never give up, take a swing at it. And big dreams lead to big things, and big swings lead to big rings. Championships or the big screen, anyone who did anything took a big swing. And big dreams lead to big things, and big swings lead to big rings. Championships or the big screen, anyone who did anything took a big swing.
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the Pick and Roll Podcast, episode number 116. I'm here with my guys, Kosek Gladney and Blaze Radio. Rios will pop in momentarily. How you guys doing?
What's up?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Speaking of Rios, say his name and he shall appear. What is up, Rios?
I guess.
This isn't fresh off a Houston Cougar win like last week.
Yeah, but really quick before I forget, prayers up to that Atlanta Hawks fan who actually tore his ACL during trying to make a layup to win some money. He falls and just holding on to his knee. He was stretchered out. So prayers up to that guy, man. It sucks. It really sucks. I don't know, Blaze, Rios, if you saw that.
I did. Just for all those guys up 40 and up, stretch, drink a lot of water because we're not young anymore. Stuff like that's going to happen.
Yeah. Blaze, did you see that?
Oh, we say you can get hurt anywhere, doing anything. It's
Yeah.
it just goes to show you never know when someone's going to get hurt.
Like Kevin Hart, he was trying to run the 4 and he tore. I forgot what he tore, but same thing.
Yeah.
Just running.
So he is a Lucho injury. Funny. But yeah, let's just get on to the question of the day. What 6 teams did Carmelo Anthony play for?
Nuggets.
That's 1.
Knicks.
2.
Rockets.
Nets.
3.
Portland. Lakers.
No
Portland, Lakers, no Nets.
Portland Lakers.
Did he play from Miami?
No, he was actually supposed to be a part of that Big 3 instead of Chris Bosh. So he was actually supposed to be a part of that, but they took Bosh instead. 1 team, Western Conference.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm going through right now.
You said Portland, right?
Yeah, I said
Yeah.
Portland, Nuggets, so Lakers. It's not Dallas.
No. So you guys got the Nuggets, Knicks, Rockets, Blazers, Lakers. One more. Western Conference.
Suns?
Nope.
Uh,
Shout out to the Suns, man. They suck.
Was it the Clippers? Did he play for the Clippers? No, he didn't play for the Clippers.
No. Chat, if you know this last team, I think
You
a
said
lot of
Western
do.
Conference?
Yes.
Golden
No
State.
Utah.
Jazz, Kings, Grizzlies, Mavericks, Clippers, Timberwolves, Warriors, Nuggets, Spurs, Pelicans,
No.
Thunder.
Got it.
He played for the. Oh, that's right.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I was looking at the bottom instead of the top.
It was short-lived. Yeah, it was short-lived with the Thunder.
Yeah. I was like, damn. Because this other question I had, who else had a 60-point triple-double? There was only 3 in history. So I don't know if you guys should get that. Already got 2.
I
You
heard
guys
it
already
yesterday.
know.
Someone said it yesterday whenever they had that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
2 points. I know Harden has one of them.
It was Harden, Jokic. I don't know if you guys actually know this last one.
I think
I
he's
heard
from
it
the
yesterday. I just don't remember. I knew they announced it
60s or
yesterday when that
50s.
happened.
No, it's this era.
This era.
A couple years ago.
Was it Curry?
No.
Mm-mm.
If it was Curry, man, props to him. I could not imagine. We've seen this guy get a lot of triple doubles before.
Westbrook.
Westbrook.
No. He's on a new team. He just got traded. Luca.
Luca. Bronny James.
Yeah.
No, it was Luca. Luca Doncic.
I forgot
Get
about
it. Right? A lot of stuff you can find about the NBA, just a quick Google search. But see, I'm the Google Master too, please. But yeah, if anyone has a rant to go on, I got one, but I want to see if you guys have one.
Yeah.
Happy we're not talking
I am
about 45 minutes about Stephen A. Smith and LeBron this week. Thank God.
Thank God, yeah.
My rant's about the Lakers. I am sick and tired of them, getting all the whistles when they play in LA. Like, it's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, right.
Well,
That's
the-
actually
Well,
bothers me.
for example, the Rockets shoot the 5th most free throws in the entire NBA to have 0 at halftime. It's just embarrassing.
I think the Laker we should be talking about right now is Austin Reeves for what he's been doing. He's freaking phenomenal. I think he's turning into a superstar is what he is. He's averaging almost 26 points a game the last 10 games, and he's up to 20 20 points a game now per season.
Yeah,
Which now keep in mind, he's on a team with LeBron and Luca. That's what's amazing about it. You can pick one of those players up that are doing that anywhere, but he's also on a team with LeBron and Luca. So I get a lot of props for Reeves, what he's been doing recently.
yeah. So for me, where's the coverage on the Detroit Pistons? They're the most shocking team right now. This team is in the playoffs. You look where they had last year, 14 wins last year in total. Now they got 42.
I think that's the answer. When you're doing a TV schedule, and I know they can change some of them on the fly, but when you're doing a TV schedule last year for this year, why would you put the last place Pistons on anywhere? So they're doing these schedules. You have to do them months and months and months in advance. I know sometimes they move shit around, but you're going to get teams that sucked last year that you're not going to see on TV because of that reason. They're not going to schedule the team that won 15 games last year 50 primetime games this year.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, not a lot of media coverage, like ESPN. They're not talking about the Detroit
You're going to hear about the
Pistons.
Lakers every show, just like Rio said. I mean, you're getting
every
you're getting
5
calls.
seconds.
You're getting everything's about the big market, big name teams.
Yeah. Detroit's making the playoffs. They're the 6th seed.
Hey,
Like-
you want Detroit? If you want more, do more. Go far in the playoffs if you want to get talked about more. I guess that's
Even
I don't know,
then, you hear more about Bronny James and the Lakers than you do the defending NBA champion Celtics. That won't even make a difference. Well, I think Michael Woodball put it best. Like in his industry, they care more about views and clicks than they do actual coverage of the sport, trying to grow the sport.
just like sport media we've talked about for so long, how much that has changed now. It's about their personality, not just them reporting. It's more about their opinions nowadays than it is them just reporting on the news, on the sports news for us. So yeah, it's all
Detroit.
tons of blurred lines with a bunch of this shit. You got blurred
Yeah.
lines about, you know, why is this happening? Why is that happening? And the big looming question we've talked about for months was like, how do you fix the ratings in the NBA? There's no, fix it button. It's going to fix it.
Yeah.
Detroit's
Little
actually have,
things go a long way, though. One, making it easier to watch your local team. It's like with baseball. I shouldn't have to sign up for 3 or 4 different streaming services just to watch that team that's in my
Yeah.
bag.
Yep. I do agree on that.
Coach?
Yeah, no, Detroit's actually in the 5th spot. They're half a game in front of Milwaukee.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I don't know if they won last night or Milwaukee lost. So maybe
They
that's
lost to the Thunder.
I mean, I get your point, though, Mitch. I mean, this is a team that could make a nice run, and we should be talking about them, what they've done because they only won 15 games last year. It is a story. But, I mean, I think about it in television rights and stuff. It's like that's the same thing with merchandise because I've been in that in my life, too. I know how long it takes to get a logo printed, get it. I mean, it's a lot faster now than it was 20 years ago to get that stuff done. But, same thing with venues. When we talk about, all-star games or wrestling or other things, when they're trying to book places, they're booking them 6 months in advance. You can't just book a venue for an event next week. So that's why they announce all these all-stars and drafts years in ahead. Who's going to wear the draft and the, stuff's going to be the next year in whatever sport.
But if you look at the history of them stinking year after year after year after year, and then they got Monty Williams and make him the most high paid coach in NBA history, they fire him within the season.
And it's not like the Detroit franchise doesn't have a lot of success in their history. They do. I mean, they've had a ton of success in their history compared to maybe half of the league that's never felt that type of success. How many teams can literally say they've won back-to-back championships?
It's a handful of
There's
teams.
a couple that can have a lot of them, but after those high echelon ones, Detroit has to be up in there because there's not. I mean, Houston's done it. I mean, there's some teams that have done it.
Lakers.
You got to say Lakers, Celtics, Bulls are the first three. It's going to rattle off easily. Spurs are another team, and we've talked about this in the NBA ad nauseum because how the trends go in the NBA. You do see more dynasties or teams that repeat or teams that come back. Nowadays, not as much because of free agency and all the changes in the game every year. But historically, if you put NFL championship winners, NBA championship winners, and MLB champion, if you put baseball, football, and basketball title winners, you'll see, a lot more like trending. All the Lakers, all the Celtics, the Spurs, the Rockets, the Pistons, the Bulls. A lot of clumps in the NBA one. You'll see some of them in the other sports, but a lot more, I think, in the NBA. You'll see that.
And then you look at Cade Cunningham this year. Cade Cunningham is having an MVP caliber season. I believe he's ranked like 4, 5 in MVP.
I'd be surprised he gets some Detroit votes, some from Detroit press people or some. I wouldn't be surprised he gets some votes for MVP.
Yeah.
And he has to, too. I mean, it's a coming-of-age story because he was on the team last year. It's not, everyone deals with injuries and stuff, and it is a team sport. But this is a coming-of-age story, not a we finally got someone good story. He just needed time to mature.
Yeah, he just needed time to show that why he was drafted number 1 overall. Like, injuries and just bad teams around him, people kind of forgot about him a little bit. And this year, we kind of run, hey, I'm that guy. Like, this is why I went number 1.
And 1 year is great, but to me, it's all about consistency. Show me you can do it over more than one season. It's a big deal in the NBA when you want to reach that next level of competition, closer to that elite group.
Yeah, and they had a really good signing of Tobias Harris filling in that role. Didn't work here. I still don't like him for that. Yeah, you heard me. I tweeted it out before, Blaze. You know that.
He got hurt. He got hurt, too. Tobias got injured.
Wait, what? I didn't even watch the game last night.
Yeah, he got injured. I don't know how serious it is or nothing, but I heard his name. And the bells go off in my head now if I hear his name from last year. So I'm like, I was working on something. I heard Tobias Harris got injured. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. It feels like everyone, just because I'm a Sixer fan and my fantasy team took the same hit. Like my top 4 players are out.
Now you're
like
fan.
injury.
Okay.
I'm not using it as an excuse. It's a fact. It's just the fact that, my team that I cheer and the team that I've picked got hurt big time with the clump of injuries that we dealt with this year.
Yeah.
It's weird because if you go into the list of players and look at all the injuries this year, it does. I know it happens every year, but for some reason it seemed like more this year.
Yeah.
We talked about it before.
Does.
Pick a team that didn't have one of their starting 5 injured this year. Like I don't think there is a 5 out there.
It's every single year. There's always an injury.
It's always going to feel worse when it's your team. When it's your team getting barrage of injury, it's going to feel worse, definitely.
The Sixers set the record with the most different starting lineups in a season. Crazy, but
they should break some kind of record.
Yeah, right. Carmelo Anthony gets inducted to the NBA Hall of Fame.
I wish Randy was here. Randy's a big Melo fan.
I know.
Actually sent him that jersey I had, that Syracuse jersey.
Yeah, I'm gonna message him and have him give me like a paragraph, and I'll read it off next week.
Well deserved. I can't argue it one bit. The dude's an anomaly for what he did in the sport. We talked about how many 6 teams you said it was.
6, yeah.
And even when he was older, he still had impact on the game. Like you could tell it wasn't the same Melo, but he could still go out there and just buckets and buckets in your face when he wanted to. I mean, he had that. The long arms on the jumper does help because not a lot of people, not many highlights you'll see of Carmelo Anthony getting his shot blocked. Let me put it that way, because he's one of those shoot at the height of your jumper type jumpers too, where he's using the whole length of his body when he does. I mean, he's just a great player, and the size he had compared, you go all the way back to his stuff at Syracuse when he was an eye opener back there, man. It was just like, who is this dude doing it all out there?
I mean, Melo's one of the best pure scorers in league history. I mean, that's can't even argue that. That's just one. That guy had it all offensively.
How many times did he make an All-Star game?
He's one of those guys where it's like you love having those type of guys on the team, but you also be held very accountable for what your responsibility is on that team. Like he's not afraid to be vocal either. I mean, Carmelo knew he was that good, which is a good thing at that level. I think that helped his longevity in his career as well, in my opinion, just seeing how
Carmelo knew he was good in high school, because I remember watching him and Bron when they came to Jersey, when Melo was at Oak Hill, and you knew you knew he was destined. And then when he committed to Syracuse, going to Boeheim, you're like, okay, it's going to take his game to another level. So.
Sad. But so Carmelo Anthony, 10-time NBA All-Star, 2 All-NBA second team selections, 4 All-NBA third team selections, NBA scoring champion in 2013, All-Rookie first team in 2004, NCAA champion in 2003, and this really helps him. 3 Olympic gold medals.
Oh, Melo in the Olympics was a different level, man. He was probably one of the greatest Olympians for the men's basketball.
Yeah. Carmelo Anthony was a killer in the Olympics. Pure killer. He deserved it.
He should have won Rookie of the Year over LeBron. He had a better season than LeBron did, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew I still had one. I knew I still had a cue.
Oh, wow.
Boy. I knew I still had one. This is the one that isn't real. The other ones were like 4 or 5 X's that I found on eBay once. And Randy's a bigger dude. He was like, I'll take it because I could never wear them. I got like 10 jerseys for $100. So it's like $10 a jersey. And they were all 7X and 6X. It's like and I came to this conclusion. Some big dude broke up with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend sold all the jerseys. They were all 4X. I got a Duncan college one, a Bird, Magic, and Kareem college, but they're all 4X, 5X. So I can hang them, but I can't look like a dress if I wore them, and I'm tall. Melo's one of the, I think I caught what Rio said too. I think he's arguably the best Olympic basketball player of all time.
Yeah. The one thing
it seemed like he did so much better in Olympics. Sorry, Mitch, go ahead.
No, you're good. The one thing where Carmelo that kind of has me on edge, it's like his demand, how the trade went down with the New York Knicks, and like he wanted to get out of there, like he wanted to go to New York as quick as possible instead of waiting to the off season. For me, that was like he could have waited. But
Well, the thing with that though was New York was gonna wait because what's his name?
right.
He said let's wait, but Dolan was worrying about Brooklyn, and that's the reason why they made the trade. If it wasn't for the thought of him possibly going to Brooklyn, they would have waited and they would have had all their players and gotten Carmelo for nothing.
Yeah.
So that's what it boiled down to, because that's why a lot of fans can't stand James Dolan, because if he had waited, you would have had Carmelo and Danilo Gallinari and Wilson Chandler and all those guys, plus your draft picks that you traded out. So and that's the problem. So
how many draft picks were given up in that trade? How many? Like 6?
Oh, I think it was
5, 6.
I know it was more than 4.
Wait a minute.
It's definitely more than 4. I think it was like 5.
Maybe it was 69.
That was funny. I'll give you that one. That was good. That was funny. I'll give you that one. Greetings. How you doing? How you doing? Make sure you hit that like for us. Really appreciate it. It had to be like 5, at least 5. I'll look it up.
No, I'm looking it up now. Too.
Oh, okay, cool. Thoughts on Anthony? Carmelo Anthony or Anthony Edwards? I mean,
here's the trade.
The
Knicks received Anthony, Chauncey Billups, Sheldon Williams, Anthony Carter, Ronaldo Blackman. The Nuggets received Wilson Chandler, Danilo Gallinari, Timothy Mozgov, Raymond Felter, the number 38 pick in 2012, the number 51 pick in 2013, the number 12 pick in 2014, and a pick swap in 2016. And they also ended up with, which ended up being Jamal Murray.
Wow, that's how they got Jamal Murray.
Yeah, and the other players that they got, 30 pick Quincy Miller, Romeo Osby, Dario Saric, and then of course Jamal Murray. So it was 1, 2, 3. It was 4. It was totally, well, it was a swap. It was 3 picks and a pick swap.
But it's crazy how a trade works out and they get some, and they draft Jamal Murray. That is crazy how that works.
Yeah, I believe Ronaldo Blackman was in that trade. He had to be pretty old at that point too. Like that dude played in the late 80s.
And think about that. You would have kept all those guys, those draft picks,
and got
Melo. And yeah, I think you would have kept Felton too. Yeah, so
you would have kept Felton there.
Yeah.
So
the thoughts on Edwards. At first, I'm going to be honest. At first, when they said he paid his baby's mama all the money up front, people were going, "Oh," and I'm like, "Well, how do you know he's not doing that to make sure his kid is taken care of?" Until I heard he said he just doesn't want to have anything to do with the baby mama. So, and then you have a total of 4 with 4 different baby mamas. It's like, bro, you're only 23, 24 years old. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's his business. I'm more worried about what he does on the court. But yeah, I mean, I have an opinion on it, but it's like I'd rather.
I mean, that's just his younger generation, man.
Yeah, it is. That's part of it.
It was just that I had never heard somebody, paying their child support all at once. That's why I was just like, oh, okay, I respect it. And then you hear more, and it's like, oh, okay.
That's why I did it.
Yeah, I might have some childs out there I don't know about, but I ain't paying no child support. I'll tell you that much. So I can't talk on child support. Thank God for that, I guess. But seriously, that's the thing, though. It's like those type of headlines steal the headlines of on the court shit, and I get it because it's out of the ordinary. It's a story, but it's like it wears on you when it's like that's a lot of the story, and we're not talking about the basketball at all, which. I know we're going to be definitely talking about on the court stuff here very soon, more because of the postseason coming up.
So great player, great person, but he needs to better decision making off and on the court.
Yeah, you could say that with Ja, you could say that with Zion, you could say that with a lot of these younger guys. And I don't want to chalk it up, like you said, for only because I don't know the whole scenario in the situation, and that's their personal lives. I get it, but I don't really, not that I don't care, because I care about them. They're human beings and there's humans involved. It doesn't really matter to me as much because I take these individuals as entertainment. I know they're human beings and I respect them for what they do and all that. And it's a dream of mine to, I've always wanted to step on the NBA court. So I got tons of respect for all of them, but I don't value them based on their humanity. But I would hope that what they're doing with humanity is good because of the power they hold, because of the money and the skills that God's given them.
I mean, the way I look at it, I think back to when I was their age. Did I make all the best decisions?
Yeah, good point. That's
what.
Put everybody in their place. Exactly. Like thinking about how we acted back then. Exactly. That's a very good point.
Well, I give them a little bit of grace. I don't condone what they do, but at the same time, I think back to what I did at their age. Like, it's just...
We talk about the God complex. None of us, some of us may have had people praise us, but we've never had 20 years of our life or 10 years of our life being treated like kings and queens, like we talk about in college, in high school. You are the shit if you're the best player on the team. So if you can carry that through high school, through college, and into the pros, you've been praised for, year after year after year after year. We talk about going to all the parties and getting free food and getting all these extra benefits for being a amazing athlete. But you also have to realize that's the 0.00001% of people that play basketball that reach this level.
Yeah.
So they have a right to have that ego and that, the wield. I would hope that more of them wield their power in a positive way. I guess that's all I want to say about it.
Yeah, me too. Now, Jokic gets a 60-point triple-double in a loss. They lose the game to the Timberwolves, actually. Russell Westbrook misses a layup, and then he fouls the guy with 0.1 seconds left. But Jokic makes history. He makes history as him, Luka, and James Harden for the 60-point triple-double. I truly believe Wilt Chamberlain's done that. I truly believe he's done that at some point. But, yeah, give me your thoughts, guys, on the Jokic triple-double and that whole thing. Whoever wants to start.
Seeing it from a center is it's a big deal. Like the other two guys, James Harden and Luka. In this day and age, it's not that hard for, these smaller guys to get a bunch of rebounds, but for a big guy to get, over 10 assists and score 60 points, it's a pretty big deal. A little bit more impressive than Harden's and Luka's, in my opinion. Even though they lost, I think it's a little bit more impressive, just considering the position he plays doesn't necessarily have him being the facilitator for the most part. He's the center.
Blaze, how do you feel about it?
This is a dude who, if you saw a picture of him when he was a teenager, a kid, you'd never think that he'd be at any professional level of any professional sport. He was the chubby little kid who didn't look like an athlete at all, who didn't play like, a lot of these players when they're in, first, second grade, they're throwing in team sports and stuff. This is a guy who's just size, naturally talented. And I don't know. I sat back and I said, over the last 2 weeks, this is SGA's MVP race to lose. But if this son of a bitch keeps doing this, it's going to be a lot closer than I thought. He is in the top 5 in all 3 categories. And that's phenomenal. It's unheard of. And just like Rio said, if you would tell me there's a player right now that is averaging a triple-double, the last position I would say was center. Kind of like what Rios was getting at there, too, because this guy's a unicorn, an anomaly. He's something that we may never see again. He's everything that Embiid was supposed to be.
Yeah.
A big guy who could still pass, who could shoot the rock, who could, bury you on the block. Jokic, if he continues this pace, will be one of the 10 best players of all time, if not higher. At this rate. Some people probably already have him up there, and that's tough, especially for me to put him in a top 10, because I'm not really a big fan of his. I just respect someone out of the ordinary. We talk about the anomaly of Wemby, seeing that player that looks like that do what he does. It's different, but it's the same. When it comes to Jokic, I get that same vibe. It's like a guy that looks like that should not be able to do what he's doing. And I like the razzle dazzle. We just talked about it the other night. Where is the Havliceks and the Magics and the Birds, the behind the neck passes in between the legs and Jason Williams off the elbow, shit like that. This is the most, you could lay 150 NBA players and say, who's the one that threw the no look pass or the alley-oop? You would probably pick him almost last. In all the 150 NBA players that think this is the guy that's dishing out dimes and dropping threes on people. You know, the hook shots, the post, you know, we've seen that for decades with a guy that looks like him. He's on another level. I don't know how to explain it at this point because it continues to happen. I said it earlier tonight. One of the keys to me is longevity, consistency. And he's been doing it like this for the past couple of years now. When his team won it 2 years ago, last year he still did it. This year, I still think SGA has to, even in the last few games, somehow, I don't know what he could do to give up this MVP. It has to be his. But if Jokic is finished and he is at 12.8 rebounds, I don't see that dropping under 10. The assists are at 10.2. Now, I know we're talking very minor personal stats because it is a personal award. And I also have always taken MVP literally. Take that player off the team. Is he the most valuable to that team? I can't say no to either SGA or Joker. There's no wrong answer. But the more it's getting closer and closer to, I don't know who's going to win at this point. Right? I think it is, just like we're saying, it's SGA's to lose. But this is crazy shit we're seeing with Jokic, and we should be talking about it a lot more.
It's because a center averaging a triple-double for the season, like, I mean, just
if you had asked me 20 years ago if anyone would ever average a triple-double, I would have said no. I would have literally said no. No one's ever going to average a triple-double. No.
I mean, we would,
the Hardens and the Westbrooks do it.
We were amazed when centers would get, triple-doubles or quadruple-doubles with Hakeem and David Robinson, but, like, averaging for an entire season, I thought I would never see it in my life. Not from the center position.
And because it's going to be like you said with Carmelo. You look back at Carmelo's stats in his whole year, his rookie year, and if you don't know who LeBron is now, and you just say, here's 2 sets of stats to a random avid basketball fan, say, who would you vote for rookie of the year? That's kind of how I'm feeling now with Joker. It's like we're going to go back and be like, sure, SGA was the no doubt leader of the best team all regular season. 32.8 points. Giannis is at 30.4, and I'm only talking offensively. Thunder, we know, is a great defensive team too. That's why they're in the position they're at. But if we look back and say, but Joker was he's top 3 in all 3 right now because he's 3rd in scoring and rebounds, 2nd in assists. 2nd in assists, people. We're talking about Joker being 2nd in assists in the entire NBA. This is incredible stuff we're seeing, and we should not ignore it. We should talk about it for decades and decades. And here's the thing. Just like we talk about Luka, these dudes ain't done. We're not talking about players that have had tons of injuries or late in their career. They're not done. They can have years left of doing what they're doing. It's amazing.
Like both these guys, they're in their mid-20s.
Yeah, exactly. It's insane. I would think Joker's like 35 or something.
They're both under 28. Like they're in their mid-20s. They've been doing it for so long. It feels even longer, but they're not old by any standard.
The one thing I hope LeBron does leave in his legacy, even though I knock him for certain things, I do put him up in the top greatest of all times. I hope his legacy of, once again, consistency and longevity can be passed down. Like LeBron, if you got things you're doing that can help other players last their careers longer at the size and the strength and that you still have, please share those secrets so our game can get better and better and better. And we will see more players. Like right now we're saying no one's going to go 22 years or whatnot at the height that LeBron did. I would love to see players prove us wrong in the next 20 years and still do it. That would be great.
By the way,
I see you, Joey. I see you, Joey.
I was like, wait, did Blake see that? Yeah. All right. Coach sent me this. Talk about it, Coach. How do you feel about this? What Marcus Morris said on First Take.
Mm, because it's when you look at the totality of the league, like, and I sent it to you because Blaze was just saying when he's done top 10.
When he's
And I'm
done,
like,
possibly. That's
and
the
I'm like,
argument he's in now with me. I didn't see it.
seriously, let's go through and say right now 20 players who we think could be better than him.
He could easily be out of my top 25 at the same breath because of
And
how.
then-
Plus, I have my personal skill bias type of player that I like more. So there's going to be like 10 players that go over him automatically because I don't like his style. But I respect the fuck out of this craziness we're seeing this guy do. I'm saying you would see people put him in his top 10. If he does this for another 5 years, what he's doing right now, and has maybe 3 seasons where he averages a triple-double, it's impossible to keep him out of top 20s. But it's also, you got personal bias and stuff in there, like, too. Like, I would have probably 10 to 12 players that a lot of people say they're not in my top 25, but they're in mine.
So,
Yeah, that's fair. Go ahead, Mitch.
So let's break it down with the centers, right? You got Wilt, Kareem, Shaq, and Bill Russell. Then you got Olajuwon. Then you got Jokic. You can put David Robinson right there as well. Is there any other centers that I'm forgetting?
Morning.
Shaq,
Did you say morning?
Ewing,
I did not say a
Ewing,
lot of morning. I did say
Shaq.
Shaq. I did say Shaq, yep.
Morning, Ewing.
I did not say Ewing, okay.
One. I mean, I throw Moses
Russell.
Malone.
Did you say Russell? Moses Malone. Yeah.
I did not say Moses Malone.
I throw Moses in all those conversations, and that's kind
Did
of.
you say Russell, Mitch?
I did say Bill Russell, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're like, I can easily name a dozen centers that I could arguably put over him.
What's his name? Who first played with the Lakers when they were in Minneapolis?
George Mikan.
George Mikan.
Mike,
Because at his time, he was a dominant son of a gun.
I mean, there's drills named after him.
Mhm.
If this is a hot take, this is a hot take. If this guy did not get injured, his back, if he's just played like this consistently, he could be in this conversation right now, and that is Dwight Howard.
Oh yeah.
If Dwight Howard did not get injured for Orlando, that was a beast. That was a different animal. He was dunking on a 12-foot net.
Mm-hmm.
Joey, you're correct. Mate, can't talk about great centers of all time without Matt Geiger.
The way I put it is this. So in the top 20, anyone's top 20, how many of those guys have 3 league MVPs?
I'm just saying, once it's all said and done, at the pace this guy's doing, and I'll go back to my initial argument, and this is totally like a little off the cuff because it has nothing to do with their skill. Look at the guy. He doesn't look like he'd be in this conversation. All those other centers you named, they look like it. This dude looks like some schmuck. But then you see that picture of him in Serbia or wherever dancing and partying, and he's like 2 feet taller than everybody. Like, this dude's a freak of nature, but I'm just happy we have him in the NBA, to be honest. And let's go back to the dream team. Let's go back to having all these foreigners want to be a part of the NBA. He's one of them.
It's just that he's in the right time because I'm gonna be honest. I question if he played in the late 80s into the 90s, would he be as effective? Because he's going to go up against some talented centers. Heck, even Big Country probably would have given him some work. Sabonis, Sabonis would have given him when he eventually came over here. You know, he would. I mean, Sabonis is one of the top ones that we didn't even talk about. So,
or penis, my bonus, yeah.
So it's hard. That's why when
he's a lot like Joker too. Sorry to interrupt, but now that you mention Arvydas Sabonis is that was the image I would get. All the other big clumsy white dudes from Europe
bonus?
That played earlier,
oh my God,
they didn't have these extra skills like Jokic. He can dribble, he can pass, and it doesn't look ridiculous. Like some of those old big white Serbian, German, European guys that we got 20 years ago, they were clumsy as shit. Sure, they had the height and they could do a hook shot or something over you, but this dude's playing the game like someone half his size sometimes. It's just like, it's incredible. It's just, my mind is blown.
His greatest gift is his intelligence. His basketball IQ is off the charts. And that's the thing where a lot of guys now, to be brutally honest, a lot of players we say, oh, they're athletically gifted. They're lazy because they rely on their athleticism. If you Michael Jordan, what is Michael Jordan? We could talk all we want about Michael Jordan, but his basketball IQ, his mental fortitude is what pulls him so far ahead of so many others. So intellect in sports to me is paramount, because that's where you could separate yourself, where we're saying, look at Jokic, he doesn't look like a lot of the other players, but his intellect is the reason what separates him. Yes. Larry Bird is another one. Larry Bird but you know what? His skill was shooting, but you could tell Larry Bird, athletically.
Good job, Joey. Good job, Joey. Golf clap.
Really good basketball player.
Larry Bird athletically not as.
Come on.
Yeah, if you saw him in a regular gear get up hanging out at the grocery store, you wouldn't be like, despite the fact of how tall he is, exactly. You wouldn't be like, that's just some schmuck country dude from Indiana buying some corn or something.
Exactly. So that's what you have to respect about Joker and what he brings to the table now and the time that he's playing, because the floor is also spread. Back in the day, the center was down in the box, so his game would be a lot different. Maybe he probably wouldn't be shooting as many threes as he is now, because the game is different and they would put him in the box. So, he's just in the right time and with the floor spread, it just helps his game. So.
Yeah. Well, unfortunate news. Memphis Grizzlies fired head coach Taylor Jenkins, even though they were like top 4, top 5 in the Western Conference. This tells me one thing and one thing only. Ja Morant did not like him. Ja Morant wanted out, so I looked at his stats. His stats this year are so much lower compared to every other year. So that just tells me he doesn't like his schemes or whatever, and they just let him go because of that. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I took from that. So
that's your star player. That could be part of it.
Yeah, I've seen some reports. He didn't. Yeah, no, you're right, Mitch. Like I've seen some reports for saying that was really buying into his offensive scheme, and it's, when the face of your franchise says, "Yeah, I don't like this guy," get rid of him. I mean, you don't have much of a choice at that point, because
let's be real. What's going to hurt their franchise more? Losing this coach? No disrespect to him. I got a lot of respect for all coaches. Or losing Ja next year. And then having to revamp your whole team. I mean, he's a star that he's on the same level as Zion, where I would say if the past 3 years, if those two were completely healthy and out of trouble, there'd be a different conversation right here. We might be talking about 4 or 5 players in the MVP conversation, because that's how much talent they have. So I think this could be a scenario of, yes, the Ja's opinion is part of it, but I think it's more of a culture thing that they need to change the culture on that team to keep Ja and build around him, other than what are we going to do next year? We got to hope all these draft picks pan out because we lost our franchise player, and they have, a base of something that could be phenomenal with Edey as well. They got the rookie, underneath, which spreads the court for someone like Ja, who slashes and shoots. So I think, and I don't know, this is just my opinion, and from the things I do know, I don't know everything. To me, it seems like more of a, this coach doesn't fit what we want to do type of thing and what our players are here to do, which I hate seeing anybody lose their job, because he's not like a world-renowned coach that's easily going to get another job. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, who knows?
Yeah. Coach?
I'm with you, man. I said, when I saw them, like, okay, something's up between him and Ja Morant, because I'm saying they have a winning record. So why would you get rid of him now? But basically, that's what I said. I mean, Ja Morant, and you can say whatever you want about, his incidents and the trouble he's been in. Bottom line is, when Ja Morant is on, he galvanizes that franchise, man. He really does. So, and if you don't get him bought in,
I think RQ has a very, very, very good point. I don't know if he even realizes it. They fell to a 3-way tie for 6-8, and here's where I would go with that. Possibly this franchise is seeing it slip, and they may have had it in the back of their head that this coach might not be the right one, but now that they're slipping, they want to try to fix it before a fall. You know what I'm saying? Like if they see, even though like I'm trying to rationalize, yeah, like you said, why would you fire when you're in playoff contention? You have a good team. You're not doing horrible. But if they have always had this fuzzy situation, like maybe this coach isn't for us, now we're starting to slip. We can't afford to hope he fixes it. Let's step in and be proactive instead of reactive. And when it's too late and the team falls apart and Jaw wants out, then you got even bigger problem.
I would argue, yeah, I agree with that part, but doing it 2 weeks before the playoffs,
save the slip before the fall. I'm just trying to make sense of it. That came to me within the last 2 minutes. I haven't even thought of it.
That's just short term. This is also a long term thing too. So yeah. I get it. I get what you're saying in the short term. Ja doesn't like him. Okay, after the season, no, you don't want to do that because, like Blaze is saying, that you may keep dropping in the playoff situation, and that also affects it. So you know what? Make the change now. But this is also a long-term thing. So, and guess what? It's a destination that certain coaches are going to want to go to because of the talent that is there. So it's not like, okay, they're a bad team. Coaches are going to say, hey, here's my resume. Can I get a shot? Let's have an interview. Let's talk. What are you guys trying to do? And any good coach, and I learned this at a very young age as a coach.
That's what I mean, Arku. It's too late then. That's the type of team that can make a run in the postseason. If they lose in the first round, you have done it then. That's my point, Arku. Do it now before your team slips and loses in the first round. They may still lose in the first round, but thank you for proving my point, Arku.
I mean, in the West, yeah, because the rate they're at right now, they're playing one of the top 4 teams.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is the schedule of the Memphis Grizzlies within half a month. Loss, win, loss, win, 4 losses in a row. So that tells you right there. They have 8 losses in the last 10 games.
Yeah, they're slipping, and you got to try to save the ship before it sinks, apparently. And maybe that's what I give them. They're the brass that are doing it, so they know more than we do about it. I don't know what the truth of this is, but they were talking about on McAfee, I think, yesterday or earlier today. Is the NBA considering going to a straight 16 seed playoff? That's what I heard. That's
what the WNBA does.
Yeah, like
WNBA does. Yeah.
Even if we're saying the Western Conference has 8 teams that are great and there's only 3 or 4 in the East, they're going to completely get reseeded 1 to 16. 8.
I think more fans will watch too. I think more fans will watch because you're going to say right now one conference is weaker and you're getting more teams in, and on the other side, you're going to have teams that probably would get in over those teams in the other conference.
May get one of my biggest pet peeves is those teams with losing records out of here. And that comes with the play into when you put those extra 4 teams in, you're going to have a team that's 500 or a little bit below.
That gets rid of the plan. That gets rid of the plan.
Exactly. I like that.
I would play it first before you go to the 1 through 16 because I don't know. It's just.
Traditionalists won't like it because they want Western Conference and Eastern. I get that. I really do. But at this point, where the discussion has been ad nauseum for at least the past year, almost every episode of this show, how do we fix the ratings? What do we do differently? If that might be one of the things that help, you don't know. I mean, I don't know either.
Think about this. The women's game is blowing up. The WNBA is blowing up, and they've been going to the 1 through 16, and it's increasing viewership because fans know you're getting the best teams in the playoffs. It's not, okay, I get the traditional aspect. I'm kind of a traditionalist, but you know what? I've gravitated to getting the best teams because you're getting the better quality of basketball being played in the playoffs. And that's what it's about. You want to have the let's think about it this way. What happens if you have a team with a losing record, get on a hot streak?
Yeah,
and they go all the way and they win the championship.
Then that argument for they should have been in it because they're that good. They played better late, or they maybe like say it was the Sixers. Let's use this argument. What you're saying? Embiid's out, Maxi's out for the first half of the season. They're terrible. Then everyone's healthy for the second half, and they make a huge run. They're not top 4, so they're playing away and everything, and they make a run in the playoffs. based on, an extenuating circumstance like that. It's a meritocracy is what you're getting at, Coach. It's the fact that we're going to take the 16 best teams no matter what. We're going to have the 16 best teams. We're not going to say these 5 teams did good enough to try to get in, which that was the philosophy when they started to play in. And I think it's okay to switch back at this point. I really do.
Did you have to use the Sixers as an example right now?
That's the first example that makes total sense because of the talent. I wanted to use an example with a lot of talent, but the talent's not there for half a season. And for them to still make the postseason and could do damage, that was the first example that popped in my head.
Yeah, you want to hear something?
In my lifetime, I've only seen one team that wasn't a top 4 team win the championship, and that was my Rockets back in '95. But they were a 6 seed. They had a chance. They would have missed the playoffs as champions, but they made that trade to get Clyde Drexler. They turned the whole season around and they went on a run. So it's doable, but it's tough.
Yeah. So Blaze, really quick. Remember how yesterday during my live stream, I was ranting about they should what's the word? Shut down Maxey. The day later they do that.
Like I told you, I think they already were. I think they already were. They were just, and with a player like that, listen. Okay, it's a personal bias once again because he's like my favorite player, and I got money invested in him. A player like that, if he can play, even if it's 10 last games, that can affect so much to that player. Like Maxey's a made man already, but what if it was someone teetering from stardom, and then there's 10 games they play, So I do not, and I will not. I know other people do. Mitch in halftime, I've heard you do it. Knocking the medical staff of teams and stuff. That's one of the most ridiculous arguments I've ever heard. Name one of the medical staff of the Sixers. Name one.
You can't. That's the thing.
That's the whole thing. So we're talking about stuff we have no clue on how they're doing it. To say that a team has a bad medical staff because their team had a lot of injuries is fucking ludicrous. There's my rant for today. That's stupid. It's not the medical staff's fault that people got hurt. They're there to make them healthier and protect them. Just because they get hurt, you can't blame the medical staff. Or that the medical staff isn't trying to get everyone healthy. And that's what
there are situations where they could not get healthy here. They can get healthy in another team and they ball out.
You always play hoping that your players are going to be
I know. Healthy. I'm right there with you.
Well, then you guys are the ones that are saying, they knew Embiid was hurt and they still signed the extension.
Okay. I mean, if you knew who was hurt, why would you sign him an extension then?
Because
that's just my thing.
He wasn't hurt.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
But what? He wouldn't
have played during the Olympics.
He wouldn't have played if he was hurt.
Joel Embiid would play no matter what.
He wouldn't have played. It's not only his decision all the time. It's not always the player's decision, especially in a Olympic event.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought everyone went quiet for a second. I'm like, what the hell?
I mean, I don't buy this. They knew he was hurt and still signed an extension. That's ridiculous. That's dumb.
Okay.
They knew he had an injury possibility, but he wasn't hurt. These guys are tested all the time. Like, they're not going to throw people that are hurt out there. And I'll get very intricate. These are billion-dollar corporations and people. Pinkies matter. Toes matter. Okay, big toes matter. I mean, it's just like people bitch about someone on their shooting hand having a problem with one of the fingers. Have you ever shot a basketball repeatedly?
Yes.
With a broken finger or torn tendons?
Doesn't feel good.
I'm sure it doesn't. I don't even know when I'm saying it doesn't.
Let me
they have to protect the health of the players.
Let me ask you a question, Mitch. Okay, because when you use the word hurt, right? Because as a coach, we say, "Are you injured or are you hurt?"
Difference.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Big difference.
And what Blaze is saying in terms of the money, if there's a serious injury, they're not going to pay them that money, because they're going to go through all the testing, because they're going to knock down the contract, the value of the contract. But now if he's hurting, okay, we could deal with that, and it's well worth it in that regard. So I'm playing on the word. I'm being very literal with the word.
And no one's defending Joel. It's the complete opposite, actually.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Take out Joel. Let's not even talk about Joel Embiid. It could be any player. In terms of contracts, this is what happens if they're injured. How many times have we seen that teams they do a trade and then they renege it or they cancel the trade because there was an injury that wasn't disclosed? That's the reason why. So now if he's a little hurt and he could work through it, okay, that's something different because the team is still going to get value from the player because the players are a commodity. So if the commodity is damaged, how bad is the damage? Is it a little ding like a car? Is it a little ding on your car or is it a big dent?
Yeah.
Because if it's a little ding, you're gonna pay more than if it's a big dent. Go ahead.
I mean, if you look at players in the past, they were played within like an Achilles injury. They were played through a torn ACL or meniscus or something like that. Gerald Henderson Sr. played with a broken neck brace because he was afraid of not losing his spot. I'm just saying, people play with bad injuries all the time.
People play hurt. They don't play injured.
Going
back to medical professionals. Don't you think medical professionals A, B, and C really value their jobs?
Okay, Mitch, when you say broken, if you have a broken neck, you're not playing.
No one's playing with
a torn neck brace. He didn't want to
lose his neck brace.
Physically can't play with a torn Achilles or an ACL. You can't.
Think about this. The neck brace the neck brace gives you stabilization. There might be some little tweaks in there. But if you have a break, that's why I'm being very literal with the word. Break. A break versus a hairline fracture. Maybe you had a hairline fracture and you stabilize it, give him a brace, and you can fight through it. But if you have a break, there's no way you can play with it. It's just like if you break your ankle or you get a hairline fracture. You know, if you break your ankle, you got to stay off your foot, let it mend, let it go. But if you have a hairline fracture, you put a brace around it, tape it up. You know, it'll mend because the fracture is not as deep as the break.
I get where you're coming from, Mitch. Players were tougher back in the day, and they played with more bumps and bruises and stuff. And nowadays, I think they're on more of a microscope. They're under more of a microscope now. And I think even more so, and I'm not defending, medical professionals. I don't have any idea how they work at all. But their job, basically, description is to make the players as healthy as they can possibly be. So, like, if they're bumped up, I'm sure they question it. I'm sure there's conversations we've never been privy to where players argue with their coaches, with the medical professionals that they want to play and they don't play. Or vice versa, that they argue and they end up getting their way and playing when they shouldn't. So, I mean, it's a very slippery slope. Injuries, I'll say it a million times. This is why I go back to my golden rule. Injuries and referees, you ain't going to change them. You can't affect them. So why complain about them? It's going to happen. It just seems like there's a lot of big injuries this year that really affected a lot of teams.
Yeah.
I'm looking for that one NBA team that didn't lose a starter this year. I don't think it exists.
We'll try to figure it out next week. Speaking of, I guess, going off what you just said, there was a fight in the NBA with the Pistons and the Timberwolves? That big scuffle.
Go figure. Isaiah Stewart gets the most suspension and was involved the most. Go figure.
Who?
Isaiah Stewart.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear. Okay.
He wants to be the next Draymond Green, I guess.
Wow.
Extracurricular activities. I mean,
I'm not going to say he could fit right in the 80s.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as I saw the teams, I was like, I don't even have to see the highlight. I guarantee Isaiah Stewart's involved. I mean, DiVincenzo had to stick. He's the one that got thrown basically into the stands and had to fight back. And it's just like, I get it because I've been in game fights before. When it starts, you lose all control of rationality. Those are your boys that you practice with and fight with every day. So the idea of you getting in trouble or suspended or going to jail, that's not in your head at that point in time. It's, why are they jumping my boy? Or, why did that happen to a teammate of mine? So I get it. I can see how scruffs. I'm glad it didn't turn into more Malice in the Palace type shit where you see fans start swinging and shit like that, because as fun as it can be, it's, we talked about
Thank you, Joey.
We talked about over All-Star Weekend.
That's the wildest thing I've ever seen in my lifetime. I ain't gonna lie.
People were talking more about the fights before the hockey game than the NBA dunk competition and stuff, which I'm like, I get it. I get that part. The viral videos and all that bullshit. So fights are going to be very popular.
Yeah.
And when it starts, like, I'm not going to sit here and defend it and say shame on these guys for fighting, because I've been in those situations where as soon as you see your guy get thrown down or low bridged or shoved when they jump in the air or something like that, and you see, and the hardest thing now would be for that, back in the days in hockey, what did they have? They had the goon, right? A lot of basketball teams have a goon. The problem is he's not always the best player, so he's on the bench, and they know they can't leave the bench or they're getting in trouble. So that's the toughest part is, your tough guy, your goon on the bench wants to come off that bench so bad to help you, and they just can't.
Yeah. So these are all the suspensions. Isaiah Stewart 2 games, DiVincenzo 1, Ron Holland 1, Naz Reid 1, and Marcus Sasser 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Blades looks like a stoner Tim Robinson.
I guess tie-dyed shirt equals stoner.
Oh, man.
No, Dark, this is not live.
This is pre-recorded.
Pre-recorded, bro. But, yeah. Coach, you got anything to say about the suspensions? Or I know DiVincenzo played for the Knicks, so.
Coach is like, put me in, coach. I want to fight too. Let me get some scruffle in.
Like William said, I've been in my share, and
You know what it looked like? It looked like a tush push.
Hey!
and usually
That
all I can say is,
might get banned, but
It needs
boom.
to.
Oh, by the way, your team was one of them. Rios that wanted them banned. So that wanted to do
Save that conversation for another time.
But yeah, Coach, how do you feel?
fights happen. I mean, look, I've done my share of dirt, and when I play ball and in pile-ups, I'm doing things that most of y'all would be like, really, coach? Fingers to the eyes, things of that nature. You take your fist and pop them up in the jaw. Yeah, I've
I like
done
to
my
grab
dirt.
somebody right under your rib cage when you're boxing out for something.
You're
Right
stepping
under
on,
their
yep, you're stepping on
boxing
fingers.
rib cage.
Stepping on fingers when you're walking by, yeah, all that good stuff. So
See, I was the skinny dude who couldn't fight, so I wanted my badass brothers, my boys, to do that. Actually, in a couple summer leagues, people got beat up because of me. I didn't have to lay a finger because I was the star player, and if they fuck with me too much, my cousin would come off the bench and take care of business, and he's had to do it a few times too. Shout out to my cousin Casey.
Blake, your favorite person left a comment.
Yeah, I figured it'd be stupid. Why? I don't even know why you'd put that up there.
Just why?
I don't know. We need something to laugh at.
Damien, normally when you enter conversations, it's hi guys, how's it going?
So hey, Blake, how's it going?
He's entitled to his opinion, so I'm over there.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna go through the predictions of tonight's games. I think I'm going. All right. Orlando at Washington. I got Orlando. Obviously.
Taking all the home teams.
Rios.
Orlando.
I got Milwaukee or the Sixers.
Everyone's
Milwaukee.
tanking anyway, so what's it matter? Everybody's tanking at this point. Who cares? What's it matter?
I'm taking Milwaukee.
Yeah. Milwaukee.
Sixers G League teams playing tonight.
Yeah. Minnesota at Brooklyn. Minnesota. I kind of want Brooklyn to win.
It's Minnesota.
Yeah, I want Brooklyn to win.
I'm going Wolves.
Yeah. Memphis at Miami. I'm going Memphis.
Miami.
No Dark Lumen. Teams can
I'm gonna
tank.
go Grizzlies.
Players don't tank. Get it straight. But there are some players that take points. I have literal proof of that.
I expect Morey to be fired after tonight. Well, good luck with that.
That'd be just like the Grizzlies coach. Does it solve anything? That's damage control. Let's try to fix that. Don't solve shit.
Blaze made that shirt at summer day camp when he was 13.
It was 12. I was 12 actually.
Age.
Cub Scouts.
Hey yo, Broken Bell Network. DM me on Twitter if you can. Portland or Toronto? My God.
Oof.
Give me that Grady dip, Toronto.
Oh,
no Diddy.
damn. I got to clip that.
Oh, I'm clipping you when you said you're never 100% right or something.
What?
You
I
said something
admitted to being
earlier.
wrong? Yeah, I know I'm wrong a lot.
Yeah. Coach, who you got?
My opinion.
I said Toronto.
I got the
Okay.
Seattle Supersonics.
Can they please bring that back? That team back, please.
Mm.
Golden State at the Lakers. Good game.
Well, it's in LA, so it's gonna be the Lakers. They're gonna get
It's going to be the Lakers, but I'm going to go with Golden State.
We got to come back with the jerseys.
Nah, I'm going with the Lakers.
Sean
They're
Kemp,
gonna get 30 plus.
the Rain Man.
Elkhart, Indiana.
Golden State is unbeatable at this point. Steph J. Philadelphia
LA.
Warriors going all the way. Hey!
PA Sixers.
Hey, we won the very first championship.
We back. We
Yeah,
back.
guys. Oh God.
Who's
Make
we?
sure you-
Speaking of the gun thing, I don't really care about that. Like, I don't even know why.
I don't
in the
either.
NFL, it's a big deal.
Mikael Bridges does it too. He goes like
It's
this.
not like they're promoting gun violence. It's like, let's be real. It's a gesture. I don't even care if they grab their dick when they get a touch. Remember Marshawn Lynch when he dove in backwards and did that one? He grabbed his jumping in.
Mhm.
You're fine.
I'm always for touchdown celebrations. I am
Marshawn Lynch, he got
1,000%.
that.
If you cross that goal line and you got that football, you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want with it to celebrate.
Yeah, if the other team you don't like it, stop them from scoring.
Yeah,
You know
the
who
only
had
thing
the greatest? You know who had the greatest touchdown celebration?
cell phone. Was that Ocho Cinco? Was that him?
Joe Horn. No,
Or, yeah, he had the cell phone.
No.
He had it in
the best. You guys will not agree, but the best, Barry Sanders. He goes to the official and gives him the football.
Yeah.
So he's saying,
I 100%. I'm polarized on this. 1,000% love it when players act like they've done it before and just hand it to the ref. But also at the same time, and it doesn't mean the choreographed dances. But if a dude gets a touchdown, does a backflip, that's fucking cool to me. You know, I like the old dunk on the goalpost. I don't know why that's banned.
Tony Gonzalez.
Are they really going to hurt the goalpost?
I think someone actually banned it, and that's what they did.
Yeah, I think someone. I forget who.
I'm actually hung for. I ripped down a goalpost before in college. We made it to the Division II national championship. We ripped down the goalpost and carried it through the campus. I was literally hanging like this from it because I was tall. I was like, "Watch this!" They're trying to rip it down. They're swaying it. It's muddy because it rained, and I jumped up and I was just hanging. I was like, "I wish people had
Right?
cell-
The goalposts have feelings.
If people had cell phones, there would be a picture of me like this somewhere, hanging from a goalpost."
It just sort of didn't happen.
Toughest was because you don't really think about these things. Getting it out of the gate into the campus because there's fences everywhere, and it's a goalpost.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right,
We got
guys.
it a couple blocks up the street.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All
I wish
right,
there were
guys.
pictures.
Yeah.
It was
Sixers are-
1990, like 3 or 4. I mean,
We know Blaze is lying because there's no way he went to college.
Oh, come on, man.
it's a good way to introduce yourself. Who the fuck is Broken Bell Network anyway? Don't get me started.
He's one of my guys. Yeah, guys, make sure you guys hit that like.
I'm
hit
not
that
me, and
subscribe.
you don't know me. We just talked about fighting, man. I'm ready to fight.
Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. Oh, hey, Leaf. How's it going, man? I haven't seen you in a minute.
I'm here. I'm gonna fight for Blaze. You wanna mess with Blaze? You mess with me, Tobias Harris, the greatest in the world, bitches.
On that note, guys, we're out. See you guys. Have a good night.
Remember that.